Season 15 of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge this time heads to the east of North America, more importantly, Canada. Hello, everybody, and welcome along to round 4 out of 14 of season 15 of the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge here from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, formerly known as Mosport, located just 47 miles east of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This circuit opened back in 1961, measures just a shade under 2.5 miles, 10 turns. It's sweeping, it's camber driven, elevation changes, and more to the point, 4 classes back in action with GTP, LMP2, GTD, and GTD AM, getting to just past the halfway point of the first half of this 15th season. Hello everyone, my name's Alex Goldschmidt and I'm joined in the booth once again by Mr. Chris Murphy. We're coming into the final throes of qualifying for our GTP classification at the moment, which is currently being led by Nathan Dowd on a 105.193. Brandon Wilson and Pat Pelchat currently are equal on the same lap time, 1 minute 5.363, as Pat Pelchat has a little bit of a spill. But before we get trackside and really get into the nitty-gritty of what's going to happen here over the 60-minute race tonight, let's take you through the scores on the doors. At the moment in the GTP class, Pat Pelchat leads on 102 points. Tied on second are the pair from Composite Performance in the Acura, Dominic Dernberg and Harrison Higgins in the Porsche for Fury Simsport. They round out your top 3. Nathan Dowd in the Sector 5, provided by Haley Agency Cadillac, is on 72 points, and Jimbo Pfeiffer in the Sector 5 Black Acura rounds out your top 5, with Brandon Wilson and Billy Smith II rounding out the running order after 3 rounds so far. Going to LMP2, Gillian Richardson leads the way on 105 points by a massive margin over Mathieu Denis for Solpec Precision Racing. Kevin Santana for Sector 5 Black rounds out the top 3. Ahead of Justin Negrete and Robert Tinsey, who are both level on 44 points apiece, and round out your top 5 in the LMP2 class. Kartik Underga for the Composite Performance Mustang crew leads by just 2 points ahead of Bradley Haley in the Sector 5 provided by Haley Agency Mustang. Robert Carson, the Fury Simsport Aston Martin, is third in the standings on 52 points, with Jason Kinger in the Solpec Precision Racing Porsche 992 GTD rounding out your top 4. In the AM class, it's Paul Slavonic that leads the way in the privateer Porsche, the number 96, and he is 11 points ahead of Sector 5 Black's McLaren in the form, well, with Brian Bennett behind the wheel. David Fernandez in the Porsche, third on 73 points. Samuel de Oliveira on 66, with Joshua Wolf rounding out the top 5. It is very, very closely packed in terms of the GTD side of things. Now, looking at the teams at the moment, Solpec Precision Racing lead on 850 points, tied with Fury Simsport. Composite Performance are on 840 points, so the top 3 covered by a spread of just 10 points. Sector 5, provided by Haley Agency, on 777 points, round out the top 4 ahead of Sector 5 Black on 717. Satellite Racing rounding out the 6 strong teams that are competing for points are on 523. And a very, very good evening to my partner in crime in the booth alongside me. Hello, Chris Murphy. Good to be back along with you, my friend. What a few rounds we've had so far. I heard that Motegi, which I unfortunately missed, and I'm going to be honest here, folks, I did fall asleep through multiple missed calls. It was a bit of a cracker, wasn't it?
It was a fantastic race. Good to be with you again tonight, Alex. Looking forward to some great racing here at Canada. I just got to step across the border to Canada, which is nice for this race. But, I'm looking at this GTP qualifying right now. And, it's been the Wilson Pelchat show for the last few weeks, ever since Brandon Wilson joined the series. But Nathan Dowd tonight's saying, hey, don't forget about me, as he is almost 2/10 clear out in pole position right now.
Yeah, Robert Cast, I have taken a note of that comment in YouTube chat. No sleeping tonight, don't worry. I've had plenty of rest before we've gone on the broadcast here tonight, live on the JP Broadcasting Network. Before I forget, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Myself and Chris will be with you for the entirety of this 15th season, which goes right the way through to the mid part of April next year, with the 14th and final round being at the iconic Spa-Francorchamps circuit, and that is going to be an absolute belter around that 4.4-mile circuit. Of course, we still have, well, just before we go to our holiday break, so to speak, over the happy holidays and of course New Year, we will have our midway point of the Autobahn Endurance Cup, which will see us head to, of all places, Road America on the 8th of December. After this, we'll be heading to the streets of Long Beach. And Robert Cast, you better go and get yourself prepped and ready, my good friend, because this is going to be a close one here at this circuit. Qualifying in the bag here at round number 4 out of 14. So with regards to the 60-minute races, it's a point for pole position in the respective class. So congratulations to Nathan Dowd in GTP, Matt Brewer in LMP2, Robert Cast in the Aston Martin takes pole in GTD, and Brian Bennett in the 161 McLaren takes pole in GTD AM. Each one of those drivers will now pick up a pole for their respective classes. Also in the race, it's 25 points for a win, 22 for second, 20 for third, 18 for fourth, 16 points for fifth. Then it's a point for the fastest lap in the class. And then for basically 2 additional points for a 0x race. And we've already had that happen a couple of times this season, to be honest with you, Chris. I mean, looking at GTPs, Jimbo Pfeiffer did it at Motegi last time out in that class. Dernberg and Pelchat did that at Daytona. But and some other drivers have done it so far this season, haven't they?
Yeah, the racing's been very clean here. I'm not surprised to see so many drivers with 0Xs. We have seen a little bit of contact here and there, but for the most part, this has just been a great series to watch. A lot of really highly skilled drivers here in the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge, and I was I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. I just want to get to Spa. I just love Spa, so I can't wait to get there. What is it? It's 4 months away at this point.
5,
Wow.
5 months away. So yeah, but folks, we need to take you through the grids of the respective classes, starting with what will be GTP. Nathan Dowd will start from overall pole position, and he'll be joined by the BMW of Brandon Wilson alongside on the front row. Series leader Pat Pelchat starts on the inside of row number 2, and he'll be joined by BMW newbie and also a newbie to the series, I think, Jordan Martin in the 98 BMW MV8 Hybrid. Harrison Higgins and Dominic Dernberg round out your top 6 in GTP. Then we go to LMP2. Matt Brewer will line up in the number 14 Delara alongside Robert Tinsley in the number 11. Mo Islam in the 91 and Kadin Richardson in the 82 round out the second row, and Mathieu Denis in the number 617 will round out the LMP2 field. Robert Cast will start in GTD pole position. In the 42 Aston Martin V8 Vantage. He'll be joined by Adam Satterfield in the number 10 Mercedes AMG GTD Evo alongside on the front row, with the 2 Mustangs of Bradley Haley and Carter Kundiger in the number 428 and the 02, rounding out your GTD field. Brian Bennett will be leading the way in GDD AM ahead of Paul Slavonic. Samuel de Oliveira will be joined by the Acura 007 of Chris Sherburne on row 2, with David Fernandez and Sheldon Rosenbaum in the 09 Porsche 992 and the Corvette R of 87. Rich Minkler and Mark Kudrowski will be in the 908 Porsche and the 00 Audi, with Dale Green and Joshua Wolf, who set no time in qualifying, in the 979 Aston Martin and the 314 Mustang, round out your complete field in the GTD AM side of things. So effectively, folks, we have 25 cars set to tackle this near 2.5 mile circuit. And one of the interesting things we did see in qualifying earlier on, Chris, that in GTP, Brandon Wilson picked Pat Pelchat to the outside of the front row, didn't he? They said exactly the same lap time, but Brandon Wilson got the benefit of the doubt because he got there first.
Yeah, let's see if Brendan Wilson can get out in front of this field. Like we said earlier, it's been a Wilson Pelchat show, but all top 4 in the GTP, all right there together. So this is going to get really interesting. I can't wait to see what happens here. A lot of elevation change here at Canada. Just high speed corners, a lot different than what we've been seeing at some of the other tracks. So this is definitely going to be interesting.
All-time lap record set by a man who I've had the pleasure of actually meeting in person, none other than Marco Werner, who set the lap time record around this circuit quite a bit of time ago. Looking at it was in the Audi R10 TDI back in 2008 in the LMP1 class. Bearing in mind that was a 105.823. We know that Nathan Dowd eclipsed that time by the best part of nearly 8/10 of a second in that qualifying side of things. But there we see the first of our GTP cars, the wonderfully liveried fluorescent green and black 913 Acura of Composite Performance Carbons, Dominic Dernberg. Chris, there's also been a couple of changes, I understand, behind the scenes, courtesy of our good man down on the ground, Carter Kundiger, who will be piloting that 02 Mustang GTD here this evening.
Yeah, we have a change in the Fury Sim Sports team. Walker Carroll is being replaced by Caden Richardson. So Caden now joining over to Fury Sim Sports. Or excuse me, did I say it? Yeah, I said it right. So Caden Richardson now joining Fury Sim Sports here in the Haley Agency Team Challenge.
Well, there we go. As now we're just waiting for, I think it's Sheldon Rosenbaum in the 87 Corvette in GTD AM to ready up. Of course, the Porsche pace car is ready at the front of this field, which will go to green in the next few moments or so. We will have a full formation lap, and then when our flag marshal, good old Barney, waves the green flag on the start-finish straight here at this very, very short circuit. And there he is waiting to wave them off onto their ceremonial formation lap. Of course, it is going to be very, very tricky, going down the so effectively it's a short run, very much like Road America, as now Nathan Dowd in the Sector 5 racing 07 Caddy GTP leads the field down into what will be the first corner, and then it'll be the sweeper through at Clayton, through at turns 2 into Quebec, and then you've got turn 5A and B at Moss before they then hit the backstretch, named after the late, well, not late, the great Mario Andretti, who's still at the age of over 80, can still pedal quite convincingly in a two-seater IndyCar when he's behind that wheel.
Oh yeah, watch that the last IndyCar race, him out there piloting around. That was actually pretty impressive.
I was going to say, I mean, Mario was no spring chicken, but he still has the effervescence. He's 85 years of age, folks. 85 years of age, and that man still has the reflexes as a man probably nearer the twilight of his career. But I mean, it's great because whenever we see him, he's always well spoken, doesn't have a bad word to say anybody. But you put that man behind the wheel of a race car, you tell him to get on with it, he slams that visor down, that Italian American red mist comes into play, and then, well, all bets are off when you have someone of that caliber behind the wheel. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, looking at the lap times in qualifying here, Chris, between the GTPs and the GTD AMs, 8 seconds around about was the delta between them. So it is going to be a very, very quick turnaround to see how quickly Messrs. Dowd, Wilson, Pelchat, Martin, Higgins, and Dernberg will catch up to the likes of Wolf, Green, Kudrowski. Rosenbaum hasn't taken the start, is not showing at the end of pit lane, so we may be one car down before we've even gotten started.
Yeah, 8-second delta. That's the largest gap we've seen yet in any racetrack. And at the pace, if I'm doing math in my head, we're going to see them lap in traffic within about 8 or 9 laps. It could get very interesting. Yeah, the GTD cars. The challenging thing is keeping your eyes in the mirror. They're watching for those GTP cars coming up behind you, and also keeping your eyes out the front windshield at your competition.
Okay, so pace car in pit lane as we get set and ready for round 4 out of 14 for season 15. And now the green flag will drop, and there we go, underway. And looking at Brandon Wilson trying to go up the inside of Nathan Dowd, and he's got the whole shot. Pale Chat trying to go around the outside. This is going to be brave for the man in the Porsche. He's going to give it a go. But at the moment, Wilson has got the whole shot he needed, nearly has a half-second lead over Dowd as he blocks off Pelchat. There's contact between the pair, and Dowd goes off, and bang, into the barriers goes the caddy.
Around goes Dowd. Unfortunately, looks like he took some damage. Set on the pole with fast time here. An unfortunate incident there for Nathan Dowd. We'll go back and see if we can see what happened.
Yeah, we'll do that in just a moment's time because everything else is getting under starters' orders because Wilson has catapulted away. He's about a second up the road from Pat Pelchat, who is probably not going to be on Nathan Dowd's Christmas card list. And let's not forget, folks, Christmas is about, what, 6 weeks away? Matt Brewer, in the meantime, has a 0.2 of a second lead over Robert Tinsey in the LMP2s. Robert Cast leading Bradley Haley, who's gotten up past Adam Satterfield in the early throws for GTD, as our leaders will now come around to cross the stripe to complete the opening lap. Brian Bennett keeping Paul Slavonic at bay, along with Samuel de Oliveira, who is a little bit further behind. But there you see Brian Bennett doing a pretty good job in that sector, that wonderfully liveried Sector 5. Oh, and Carter Kundiger's just gone off the circuit himself, so Carter not getting off to the best of starts. He did have a big old off in practice and had 3 wheels on that wagon, and that car has got big old damage, probably from the right rear, and that's over-rotated, so that is going to be a trip for Carter Kundiger. He's going to have to tow that to pit lane, I'm afraid.
Unfortunate for Carter. Was looking for a good run tonight. I was talking to him before the race. He felt pretty confident, but it looked like a little mistake right there. We'll have to see if we can catch that one as well. But unfortunately for Carter, looks like his race, I don't think he's going to be out of the race, but he's definitely out of contention.
Yeah, that's going to put him a long way down the order as Pat Pelchat trying to close in on Brandon Wilson, who now on lap 2 has a 1.1 second advantage. Robert Tinsey getting on with business at hand as he's closing into Matt Brewer, who's leading in the number 14, Delara. But still, Tinsey is not out of the wilderness yet because he's got new Fury Simsport recruit, Kadin Richardson, along with him for the ride. And let's not forget, Kadin Richardson, again, has been showing very, very good form in this early part of the season, as we're now into the second half of the opening half of this 15th season of the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge. But yeah, looking pretty even on pace. And looking at Mo Islam in the number 91, the Canadian, home soil for him. He's about 2.3 seconds off of Matt Brewer in 4th position. Mathieu Denis in the number 617 Solpec car, way back. And he's a further 2.6 seconds back in the Solpec Precision Racing 617 entry. But meantime, Jordan Martin is trying to see if he can close in on Pat Pelchat. The gap between them is about 1.9 seconds. But there is Harrison Higgins closing in on his 6 as they come out of the final corner, out through White's, and across the line they go.
Yeah, Higgins with a good run right here, trying to find his way around Martin. Martin, newcomer to the league, but showing some good pace right now here in 3rd. He's trying to keep pace with Pelchat and Wilson, but dropping back here. But he's got his hands full with Higgins right now, just trying to hold on to that podium position.
Yeah, looks like he is the teammate of Brandon Wilson. They're running the same kind of liveries for Rush Motorsport. So Pat Pelchat, new fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 6.097, as he is slowly catching Brandon Wilson. The gap now 8.5 tenths of a second as we're nearly 5 minutes in to this 60-minute adventure around this very tight near Toronto-based circuit, but has seen a lot of action over the years. IMSA, IndyCar, you name it, it's probably been here. But Brandon Wilson in the GTSL Esports number 4 BMW MV8 Hybrid continues to control the pace as once again another lap is going to be in the books. That is 4 laps completed within around about about 4.5 minutes. These drivers have completed the opening 4 laps. So the worrying thing will be is when does Brandon Wilson catch up to the lowest placed of the GTD AM field that is still running. That is the 314 Mustang of Joshua Wolf, who's currently 8th in the GTD AM classification, but you can see that it's not that far. Look, they're just going through Moss now, and then they're going to hightail it at full velocity down the Mario Andretti straightaway. That gap looks to probably be about 8 to 10 seconds, I would imagine, between Brandon Wilson and Joshua Wolf in GTP and GTD AM, respectively.
Yeah, they're going to catch them. At this pace, we're going to be the GTD cars are going to find themselves about, about 6 or 7 laps down before this race is over with. Let's see how they handle this.
Joshua Wolf has just had a big old off, and he's done a return to garage and has just effected a fast repair after lap 4. Well, it was towards the end of the lap, so the 314 pony car has ended up going into pit lane, and I think that might have been terminal possibly, because Joshua Wolf has not moved out of pit lane at this stage. Nathan Dowd still in pit lane. I think that race is done and dusted, but that was a real... I think what I'd like to do, let's have a look back at what happened. So Pat Pelchat to the outside, and then it's now going to be a right-hander coming up. Pelchat tries to dive to the inside, catches Dowd, and Dowd goes at high velocity, at least 80 to 90 miles an hour in the front and the end of that Cadillac are an absolute mess. And Nathan Dowd, I think he's called time on that race because that was a big old incident. We've got something here with Robert Tinsley. He misses the flailing front bump, the front nose cone of Nathan Dowd. It's a real shame for Nathan because he'd done so well, and now Brandon Wilson and Pat Pelchat. We are at the 6 3/4 minute mark. I thought it was going to be 8 to 10 minutes. Now they've just got, that's Mark Kudrowski that they've just both got through, and Pelchat, because of this back marker traffic. There's David Fernandez going exit stage right, so that is going to allow Kudrowski in the 00 Audi to get through for 4th in GTD AM. So I thought it was going to be 8 to 10 minutes. That pace is even more significant. Brandon Wilson running in the 106.4s. Pelchat right on his rear. They've got Samuel de Oliveira, the man from Portugal, just up in front. And Pelchat has got to try and keep with Wilson. The thing is here, Chris, as we've seen multiple times before on the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge, it's always the person at the front of the GTP field that is the proverbial guinea pig trying to get through this traffic. And Pelchat has got a window that is quite easy to follow.
Yeah, fortunately, they caught a bunch of that lap traffic down the Mario Andretti straightaway. Oh, we're going to split the lap car. Is that Bennett in the sandwich, the meat in the sandwich right there? Wilson on one side, Pelchat on the other. Pelchat looking for a way around Wilson again. And Pelchat, as we've seen the last few races, it's come down to these two drivers. Unfortunate, like you said, we didn't have Dowd still up here. It could have been a 3-car battle at this point, but lap traffic coming into play once again, as we have seen over the weeks.
Chris Sherburne's been in the YouTube chat. Point is to qualify cleaned up at turn T2 on lap 1. Another 10 minutes of repairs, and he's been in the pit lane for just over 70% of that time. But Pat Pelchat here on lap number 8, as we are just fast approaching the 8.5 minute mark. Pelchat has got to time this right. Obviously, the mistake that, he wasn't, in my honest opinion, from the angle that we saw in the contact between him and Nathan Dowd, I don't think Pat was quite well enough alongside for that move to be on. So he's got to pick his moment here. And Wilson, we did see, if anyone might remember that classic Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta we had back at round 2, Wilson decided to take on the tyres, and Pelchat didn't and suffered towards the end of the race. But I think it's more the case of this is going to be more strategic, of using the back marker traffic, also staying off the grass, and with that, possible undercuts on pit stops here, Chris. That's what I see in... Well, I haven't got a crystal ball, folks. That's broken. That's on the shelf. That's never going to be used again. But it's more the case of how close these barriers are. There's hardly any runoff area. If you won't make one big mistake here at Mosport, you are a goner, as we've already seen tonight.
Yeah, and once again, we see Pelchat being patient here behind Wilson. I don't know if he has the pace to get by him here yet or not, but he is definitely filling up that rearview mirror. Wilson doing everything he can, and we've seen in past weeks, Wilson's pretty unflappable in this position, but Pat is trying to put a lot of pressure on him. Unfortunately, they've got some clear running here for a little while. I see one lap car on the map they're probably going to catch here in about the next lap and a half, but it's going to be a while before they catch the rest of that GTAM field again.
I think with the slipstream between Wilson and Pelchat's gaining about a 4 km/h advantage. I think before this previous lap, Pelchat had a top speed of about 204 km/h. Brandon Wilson around about a 197, 198, as we see the LMP2 traffic being led by the hard point by Telt, Sport Academy number 14 of Matt Brewer, who is still keeping ahead of Robert Tinsey. So Tinsey is about 1.3 seconds back, as that is Kudrowski being passed around by the... Well, you can see the closing rates of speed between the LMP2s and also the GTD AMs. I mean, the gap between them is around about a 6 to 6.5 second differential. Matt Brewer's last lap was 1 minute 8.713, and then you look at Mark Kudrowski, 1 minute 15.185. So that's effectively 7 seconds in favour of the man in the number 14 who is leading the way. It's nice and calm and cool from Matt Brewer at the moment here in the LMP2 class. Meantime, a little bit further up, we've got Samuel de Oliveira trying to close in. That's on the GTD AM top 3 battle. And in front of him, he's got, well, that's probably going to be the Mercedes of Adam Satterfield in the number 10 car. But then between, so he's between de Oliveira and also looks like Slavonic. And then also Brian Bennett, who's not that far ahead. He still leads. Oh, bit of a blink there from Adam Satterfield. So his ping not exactly helping, but you can see here that Brian Bennett really putting on one hell of a show in terms of that. So I would imagine that the car in between Satterfield, Slavonic is Bradley Haley in the number 428 Mustang. So he's trying to close in that gap to Robert Cast. And there's a bit of a gap between them at the moment. So Bradley Haley for Sector 5 Racing in the 428 Ford Mustang GTD. Doing a stellar job at the moment, but we continue our look at the front end of the field, and Wilson and Pelchat, like we saw at Road Atlanta, you know, it's we heard from Brandon and Pat after round 2, didn't we, Chris, in the post-race interview show, that they were both really happy. They know each other from previous. This is going to be one of those chess games that is going to go all season long, and at the moment, well, Wilson's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's got the fastest lap of the race. He hasn't got pole position, but that's going to be an additional point to his credit. But then also, whoever out of these two, if one of them does get a 0x, a complete race without any incident points, then that person's going to be smiling all the way to the bank with an additional 2 points to their tally.
Yeah, in different interviews throughout the season, we've talked to both Pat and to Brandon, and they have both just been nothing but complimentary of each other, just telling us. And these guys have obviously ran a lot of laps together, back and forth, side by side, and a little bit of a wiggle right there from Wilson off the last corner, heading down the main straight. But Pelchat not able to capitalize. Actually, a little wiggle of his own there, and kind of fell back about a car length or so.
Yeah, so it just goes to show, I mean, what you can see on the right-hand side of the timing tower is the respective fastest laps by each of the individuals out on circuit at the moment. And one of the things we'd like to give to you at some point, folks, is the differential in terms of the deltas between them, the gaps between them. So, as you can see, Pat Pelchat, 0.3 of a second behind Wilson. Then it's a further 6.2 seconds back to Jordan Martin. Higgins is closing in, so battle for P3. So a BMW in first, a BMW in third, and both of the antagonists are both Porsches. Great battling between these two duos here in GTP.
Yeah, ask for the interval and you shall receive, my friend. We have the power to bring you whatever you want to see. But look at Pelchat now, back up on the back of Wilson. Kind of backed off a little bit there for about a half a lap. Let Wilson breathe a little bit, but he is right back, putting the pressure back on. Can we do this for 45 more minutes?
Well, we do need to concentrate on some of our other drivers. Oh, bit of a big old run wide through turn 1 there. But there is Matt Brewer leading the way. I'm going to be interested to see what's happening between Martin and Higgins at the moment in the battle for P3 in the GTP classification. There's Harrison Higgins, the number 53 Porsche 963 hybrid, trying to close on down in on Jordan Martin in that BMW MV8 hybrid, the number 98. And, well, I have to say, big good news for you GTD AM 007 Acura fans out there, because Chris Sherburn has rejoined and he's 11 laps down, unfortunately, for Chris. But the good thing is, it still gives him an opportunity at this point to still score. If he comes across the line and finishes where he is, and that is 9th, that is still 9 points to Chris's tally for this season. It's going to hurt him a little bit in terms of the points side of things when it comes to GTD AM. I mean, you know, Chris currently running on 40 points. This is going to hurt him in comparison with the other competitors that he's running with at the moment, but the more track time he gets, the better he'll feel behind the wheel of the Acura. But again, here is Brandon Wilson back on the flashers once again, and he just got through. That was David Fernandez in the 09, and now it's Mark Kudrowski who's going to put another lap down on again. So we are past the 1/4 mark. We're 16 and a quarter minutes in, and there you can see the respective battles in the respective classes. So Satterfield is ahead of Samuel de Oliveira by about 5.2 seconds. You can also see that Pat Pelchat is losing a little bit of distance to Brandon Wilson, so that back marker traffic once again coming into play.
Yeah, and they've got a little bit of free air for right now, but about another corner or two, they're going to catch another group of traffic. So we'll see how that shakes out. Right now, Wilson being getting through the traffic has been timing it very well, and you can see right here, you got Chris Sherburn right there in front of him, going to go another lap down.
So, yeah, Chris has got to have he's got to have his head on a swivel, does that man, in the 007 Acura NSX. Of course, the car's still very much. I feel that there are some cars in the GTD classes that don't get a lot of love, and the Acura is one of them. Of course, the Audi, the R8 has been a big old stalwart in GTD and GT3 racing. If anyone might remember the antics of a couple of drivers, formerly Audi Sports work drivers, the names of Edo Mortara, Ollie Jarvis and Philippe Albuquerque, picking up the win for WeatherTech Racing in the Audi R8 at the Daytona 24 a few years ago. I remember watching that race, and Dion von Moltke, another driver that was part of that crew, good friend of mine, got to know quite a few people in the world of sports cars, but Mo Islam closing in on Caden Richardson, and this is the LMP2 battle for P3, right front and center in glorious sound and vision.
Yeah, Caden Richardson's won the first 3 races of the season. Does not appear to be in contention right now, as he's actually fallen well off the pace of Brewer and Tinsey, and he's also, like you said, he's got his hands full with Mo Islam right now. So Richardson, with a new team this week, does not seem to have about the same pace as he's had the first 3 weeks of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a tall order, really, to be fair with you, Chris. I mean, there's always going to be those bogey tracks, aren't there, for drivers, whereby they'll go, yeah, didn't quite nail it together, but then there'll be other tracks that will play to their strengths. And we know that, you know, with Caden Richardson having won both at Daytona, as Jordan Martin is having to be very, very careful here as they split past the way of the Mercedes of Adam Satterfield. Oh, that was close. That was Code Brown nearly. Clean up on aisle 3 and get the maid in whilst you're at it.
That about made me pucker, and I'm not even in the seat, but nice moves right there from Martin getting through traffic, as Higgins is actually going to find his way up along the inside. They're side by side here, Higgins and Martin, for that 3rd spot in the GTPs.
And they just got through on Bradley Haley, but well played by Harrison Higgins to get through on Jordan Martin. And they literally, it's one of those things that when it happens quickly. And now they get through on Brian Bennett in the 161 GTD AM class leading McLaren, and now can continue on their own battle, but that has cost Higgins a little bit of time. Well, no, it's cost Higgins time in trying to see if he can close in on Pat Pelchat, but a mistake there going through Moss. That's not going to help the Porsche. But unfortunately, Jordan Martin is not close enough to try and seize the day, or carpe diem, if you want to quote your Latin, so to speak, folks. But Harrison Higgins down the Mario Andretti straight is pulling away ever so slightly.
I know you speak many other languages. I didn't know Latin was one of them.
I learned that at public school. But, you know, with all these, well, you know, like say, like Harvard, Yale, they all have Latin, like sort of like mottos. And it seemed, and it was, you know, it was some of those things. I mean, I don't remember any of the Latin from back in those days. Oh, and that was a bit of a Code Brown moment there for Carter Kundinger. He got a little bit of a tap from behind by Kadin Richardson, and Mo Islam waiting to pick up the pieces.
Sorry, I clicked the wrong button there. And Islam all over the back of Richardson again. This is a good battle here for this third position. Caden Richardson just got his hands full. Islam definitely has a little bit better pace, but just can't find a way around.
He's about less than a tenth off of him in terms of pace, but I think it's just the case that Mo is not able to find a way past Kadin at the moment, and it's coming out of here, out of whites at the final corner, and you can see that the tail end getting a little bit happy on to the left-hand side, coming through that final corner at whites for the number 91. But, you know, going down here through into Clayton at turn 2, you know, you've got this deep compression, and it's a sweeping left into Quebec. Another fast right-hander sweeper, adverse camber to the right-hand side. And then it's up the hill again through the sweeping left into the hard braking zone into Moss. And is that that's Brandon Wilson closing in on them. And Pat Pelchat is still within that remit. Wilson's got to expedite this very, very quickly. And he's going to go to the outside. It'll have been on the flashes already as they go through the Mario Andretti straightaway. And could this be the opportunity? Oh, Islam tried to use the slipstream of Wilson, and Richardson close was very, very quick to block that attack off. And now to the outside, through into the S's. I'm sorry, Mo Islam, you're not going to get through there.
Yeah, Islam tried to. Perfect. You said it perfectly right there. He tried to use Wilson as a slipstream to get by Richardson. He saw him open that hole on the bottom, but Richardson really slammed the door quickly on him. Great race going on right here between these two in the LMP2. Probably the best race we've seen all season. Islam going to look to the outside. Not going to have the pace there. Richardson's going to shut him off one more time.
Tried for the inside line. He's going for the inside line this time. Is Mo Islam going to get through on Kadin Richardson? They are side by side coming out of Quebec. And now it's the run down to Moss. Can Islam get the power around the outside? Richardson slots in behind, and that is Islam through into P3. Now hard on the brakes into Moss. And, well, greatly done there. Mo Islam biding his time, waiting for the opportunity, and took full advantage with absolutely no hesitation needed.
Yeah, Mo Islam's looked like he's had a little bit better pace than Richardson here for most of the early part in this race. Now that he's got that fresh air, let's see if he can put some distance on him and see if he can get any kind of pace up to run down Robert Tinsley in that second spot. Quite a big gap, almost 8 seconds right now to try to make up.
And that's a big amount of time to make up, because we're nearly, folks, at the halfway point of this race. 36.5 minutes still to go, and the battles are raging on. Robert Carston, the wonderfully McLaren-style McLaren Marlboro livery back from the 1980s in Formula One. He is leading ahead of Bradley Haley in terms of the GTD classification by nearly 8 seconds. And that gap is slowly but surely climbing for the man in the number 42, Aston Martin. Brian Bennett in the 1616-5 racing McLaren 720 GT3 Evo still has a gap of around 3.2 seconds between himself and the number 528 Porsche 992 GT3 GTDR, or GT3R to use its proper nomenclature. I do work for Porsche Switzerland, and I do see these 992s racing on the track, but Mo Islam is not out of the wilderness yet, Chris Murphy, because look, Kadin Richardson chasing him down, wanting to get that third place back, and he's going to put everything in the playbook, throw it, including the kitchen sink, at the man in front of him from Canada.
Yeah, I really thought I thought Islam was going to pull away from him once he cleared Kadin for that third position, but actually not able to put any gap on him. Richardson doing a good job hanging on there. As I say that, he does get a little bit of separation. Oh, and there goes Richardson off the track, out into the grass. That is going to let Islam slip away.
Exactly what Richardson needed in that time, and that has put him 1.2 seconds adrift in terms of the battle for the LMP2, well, the final step on the rostrum, as Harrison Higgins on the flashes around the outside. Through he goes, does the number 53 in the Porsche for Fury Sim Sports. Love that livery, a nice bit of chrome silver, a little bit of black on the fin and down the main part of the airbox, and the engine cover of that Porsche, that bright fluorescent green, typical of the oh, and I've just seen Mark Kudrowski has just come into pit lane
Might be pit
at
stops.
the 34.5-minute mark, so it could be that some drivers may have been, let's say, a little bit overzealous with the fueling, as Pat Pelchat on the flashes as they go past the 09 GTD AM Porsche of David Fernandez. And Pat Pelchat now has got that gap down with 34 minutes plus a little bit of change to go to 0.3 of a second as he closes once again on race leader Brandon Wilson. This is going to be a real fight to the end here at round 4.
Yeah, I would expect the undercut to be pretty strong here. See if Pelchat dives down into the pits a little bit earlier than Wilson, or if Wilson dives in and Pelchat follows him. But I would expect if Wilson pits, Pelchat's got to go with him. We've seen that, like what was that, Road Atlanta there, when he forgot to take tires, actually, they made a huge difference. But I think they want to, if he wants to be on equal footing with him right now, or maybe pit a lap earlier if he can.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question that really needs to be answered. And obviously, as we saw at Road Atlanta when these two went toe-to-toe, I would think that the big thing is these tyres will be absolutely destroyed by the time they get in for their respective pit stop. And I'm sure that with regards to it, they will have a lot of things still left to do at this moment. But nevertheless, it just goes to show that these drivers, as we said, there is a lot of things happening for and there's De Oliveira. They're trying to get through on the man who's currently P3 in the GTD AM classification in the pony car. And De Oliveira keeps out of the way as the lead duo continue their battle. And the gap that has expanded between Pat Pelchat and Harrison Higgins is all they're coming up across. Adam Satterfield in the Mercedes. And then Slavonic, who gets nearly a side swipe from behind. That's opened the door for Pat Pelchat as Wilson dives into pit road.
Oh, that is going to be huge.
Close.
Wilson took advantage of him being in traffic, got down into the pits. Oh, Pelchat having to squeeze through the inside there. But I think that's really going to benefit Wilson. He was able to get into the pits a lap earlier here than Pelchat. Kind of snuck in there where they were in traffic, let Pat stuck behind a lap car. I think that's going to give Wilson maybe about a 2 to 3 second advantage when we cycle through the pit stops here.
Yep, so we are now nearly at half-time in this 4th round out of 14 for the 15th season of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge, live and direct here from the JP Broadcasting Network. Thank you so much for everyone that has tuned in so far here tonight, and it will be 2 weeks after this that we'll be heading to the streets of California and to Long Beach for the 4th of our regular rounds, before we then go to our second round of the Autobahn Endurance Cup Championship, which will head to Road America, America's National Park of Speed, on the 8th of December. And then we'll have a break for the holidays and for New Year. And then the series will return on the 5th of January for the for 4 straight 60-minute encounters as Matt Brewer around the outside of Slavonic there through the opening corner. Great negotiation by the hardpoint by Delta Sports Academy number 14, the LMP2 class leader in this race. And more to the point, Matt Brewer, well, he made his debut this season at Mobility Resort Motegi, placed 4th, but is looking to get a win on the cards, and that will really catapult him up the order because of course, with the LMP2s, we've only got Brewer, Tinsey, Richardson, Denis, and Islam, and Mo Islam is currently in pit road at the moment here, Chris. So I'm wondering to see how things are going to change because we have had Pat Pelchat come in, so he's taken his pit stop. Dominic Durenberg is the only driver yet to do so, and he's now nearly about to complete lap number 27 of this race in the 913 Composite Performance Acura.
And here comes Dominic down to the pits. And it actually didn't work out near as well for Wilson as I expected. Pelchat actually able to hold that lead out in front of him. I thought Wilson pitting a lap earlier would be able to have he must not have had a very good out lap.
Let's have a look. Brandon Wilson's previous lap was a 143.226. So there's been a drama of some kind, I would imagine. But now I would think if I was Brandon Wilson, well, he's going to get through on the 908 Porsche of Rich Minkler in the GTD AM side of things. And then we see the Aston Martin Yellow Submarine, let's call it now, shall we? That's of Dale Green in the 979 Aston Martin, fourth in GTD AM. But I think if I was Brandon Wilson right now, I would want to actually stay behind and stick with Pat Pelchat. Good to see that Nathan Dowd, after 15 minutes of repairs in pit road, is back out on there. Or there's a... what I was going to say, and people say the words commentators curse. Yes, okay. For me, that is fate of circumstance. I was going to say the following. If I was Brandon Wilson, I would wait, bide my time, save fuel, save tyres, keep within a certain window of Pat Pelchat, and then go for broke within the last 10 minutes of the race. And that's going to be quite crucial because we've seen it before. We saw it in the first half of this race here, Chris, that Pat Pelchat was anywhere between 0.8 to a second behind Brandon Wilson. And what happened when the back marker traffic came into play? It would always be the person in second would get the advantage over the leader of the race. So I think what Brandon Wilson is trying to do is see if he can return the favour to Pat Pelchat in this fourth round.
No, it's always easier to be in the second car through traffic for sure. The first car the leader gets by, the lap cars are going to move over out of the way. It just makes it much easier for second place. But I'm taking a look here at Dowd. Dowd, long time in the pits repairing earlier, sat on the pole, had fast time. He's coming back out here, and he's now right behind our leaders, Wilson and Pelchat. I think maybe he's got a little something to prove here, saying, hey, I had some pace, guys. Let's see if I can maybe get a lap back.
At least. So let's see how many laps Nathan actually gathers back as we complete lap 29. So lap 30 underway. So Nathan is 13 laps behind the two leaders, the two overall leaders in front of him. Well, with it being just 20 to 27 minutes to go, let's run you through our top three lowdown of the respective classes. Pat Pelchat in the 919 Solpec Porsche leads overall in GTP. And there behind him is the GTSL Esports BMW MV8 hybrid piloted by the number 4 from the US, Brandon Wilson, and Dominic Durenberg in the 913 Composite Performance Carbon Acura 06 is holding on to that third position, and he's only just a second ahead of Harrison Higgins from Fury Sim Sport as Matt Brewer comes in from the LMP2 class lead in the number 14 Hardpoint by Delta Sport Academy. That is going to promote Robert Tinsey in the Maradness number 11 car up to the race lead very shortly. Mo Islam rounds out your top three at the moment in the number 91 car. Then in GTD, Robert Cast in the McLaren MP44 Tribute Throwback number 42. Aston Martin leads in the GTD field. Bradley Haley in the number 428 Sector 5 Racing Mustang GTD rounds out second in the class, and Adam Satterfield, despite all the scares he's had with cars going around him, which includes now, I think that is the number 4 of Brandon Wilson. He's right on the rear of Pat Pelchat, who's been slightly impeded by Paul Slavonic. And, well, as you rightly said there, Chris, you would rather be the car that is second in the GTP train at the moment.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a benefit, right? I mean, for sure, that was a great comment. But yeah, definitely benefit being second sometimes. And you can see how much it's benefiting Wilson as they're getting through traffic. As we take a look at our GTM leader, Brian Bennett.
Yep, and he's quite a way ahead, 13.5 seconds in front of Paul Slavonic in the number 528 Porsche, who's just coming through turn 1 as we speak. And then now into P3, it's the 979, the privateer entry of Dale Green, or as we're going to call him, the it's kind of a reference to the Beatles, folks, with their hit single Yellow Submarine, and that's definitely the Yellow Submarine of the series, but it does look really, really cool with the majority of it being bright banana yellow, but then the vents, you know, the cooling ducts on the just behind the front wheels on the car in exposed carbon. But Brandon Wilson now 9/10 of a second behind Pat Pelchat as they are quickly closing in on the 00 Audi R8 GTD AM entry of Mark Kudrowski. So again, we saw that Pat Pelchat nearly came unstuck because of Paul Slavonic, and now he's trying to go around the outside through into the final right-hander here at White's and puts the car between himself and Wilson, who goes all 4 wheels off track coming out of White's at the final corner. And Pelchat now has a lead of 9/10 of a second as we go on to lap 33.
Yeah, well over. They got this race is going by quickly, well past halfway. We've got 23 minutes left to go. Pelchat still setting a blistering pace. Wilson going to try to hang on there, but I don't think he's got anything left unless he's saving some tires here. Like maybe he heard you recommend that earlier. See if he's got anything left here in the last 20 minutes or so of this race. But right now, Pelchat setting a blistering pace.
I think in some respects here, Chris, it could be Pat Pelchat's race to lose, because if he makes one error, as we see that Paul Slavonic and Dale Green have now Slavonic's coming out to the end of pit lane, and Rich Minkler has fired his way up into P2. So at the moment, Bennett and Minkler yet to pit in the GTD AMS. Bradley Haley and Adam Satterfield yet to pit in the GTDs. So some drivers opting to go for the longer fuel strat here, and maybe if that 3000 IQ strat does work out, then Bennett and Minkler might come out in front. But of course, with the transit time, I mean, you look at the Mathieu Denise had a long pit stop in the 617 Solpec LMP2. He was on his marks for about 50 seconds, so that would probably be close to about 1:15, 1:20, including transit time. I mean, even though yes, it is a short pit lane, it's a very, very strict speed limit that the drivers are enforced with. But Dominic Durenberg being closed in on by Jordan Martin, so this is Acura versus BMW for P4 in the GTP class, coming through Adam Moss and onto the Mario Andretti straightaway.
Yeah, Martin was in a battle with Higgins earlier for top 3. He's kind of falling back here a little bit, but Dominic Durenberg actually had about a 3-second better pit stop. That's what gave him this advantage right now over Martin. Martin trying to find a way back around here for that 4th position.
So we are coming up to the final third of this race, just over 21 minutes left on the ticker. And well, Nathan Dowd, I think, has come in for a pit stop, and he may have, well, he's moving down. Okay, right, he's on his marks in the pits, but here go. Oh, this is getting a bit fruity in the battle for P4, Durenberg versus Martin. And they're going to go through Quebec very shortly, and Martin's going to get the slingshot past, and Durenberg unable to fight it as they head their way down in towards what will be Moss, and the BMW makes its way back up into P4. So a good move there by Rush Motorsports number 98, Jordan Martin, on Dominic Durenberg for that P4.
Yeah, Martin found his way back around there. Dernberg, I think maybe, I'm not sure why his pit stop was a little short. Maybe he only took 2 tires. I don't know why you would only take 2 tires in one of these cars, but I'm thinking of my NASCAR strategy. But, you know,
Yeah,
Mark able to
whether
get.
it's I think it's also because a lot of the turns are predominantly with the Pat Pelchat flirting with the grass there a bit, I'm afraid. But he's opened up that gap. It's 1.6 seconds between him and Brandon Wilson. And Brandon Wilson he's about half a second behind on pure lap pace on Pat Pelchat, who's just come up to Adam Satterfield, and Satterfield nearly got a wallop from behind. That could have really have caught Pat Pelchat out here on home soil.
Yeah, let's see if Wilson can get by cleanly here. Satterfield not just moving out of the way, he's kind of holding the line right there. Moves over just a little bit, doesn't really give that inside line to Wilson. Wilson has to go around the outside. Fortunately, we've seen Satterfield blinking on it also. Fortunately, it didn't happen right there because that can be a little sketchy when you're out there and the car's blinking around you.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that unwritten rule in sports car racing. If you are the slower vehicle, you stay on that racing line, and it is the responsibility of the faster vehicle closing in that they have to make the move safely without endangering both parties. And Wilson could have nearly been caught out by that, but he's right. Oh, that was so close to the wall coming through turn one by Wilson, and that would have been on Bradley Haley in the Sector 5 Mustang that's still holding on to P2 in GTD, but in the meantime he's also closing in on Brian Bennett. But Pelchat has now got a nearly 3-second advantage. Yeah, I mean, looking at it from this perspective, the last laps from the respective top two, Pat Pelchat, low 1 minute 6.5. Brandon Wilson, high 1 minute 6.4. So they're pretty much near enough, even Stevens on lap times. But I think Pelchat, that Porsche seems to be a little bit more easy to control in these faster sweeping corners, and have the edge over the BMW, which in a straight line, you would say that the BMW might have the torque advantage of getting the traction down, but that Porsche in the hands of Pat Pelchat is like an absolute rocket ship with 18 minutes to go. We're now on to lap 38 overall.
Yeah, 18 minutes left in this race. And like I said earlier, this has gone by very quickly. The field is pretty spread out here as far as position gain, but we got a little bit of action here through the lap traffic. But you know, we talked earlier just how much benefit it was to be the second car past the lap traffic, but it didn't really pay off. Didn't really pay off for Wilson as they made their way around Bennett. That last couple laps, he kind of caught him at the wrong spot, and it actually cost him a little bit more time. The gap is now over 3 seconds between Pelchat and Wilson.
But still, with 17.5 minutes to go, folks, there's always that air of unpredictability that comes ever closer, like the harbinger of doom, and that's what I probably sound like at the moment. But it's more the case of the drivers have done practice, they've done their qualifying sessions, they've been on track now for nearly 43 minutes, not including the formation lap earlier on that got us to green here at round 4 out of 14 for Autobahn Sportscar Challenge Season 15 here at this wonderful circuit at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, as Mo Islam now trying to close on in, and he's closed that gap to Robert Tinsey. Mo Islam is absolutely flying at the moment, so could have an opportunity of being on the runner-up step on the rostrum here tonight.
Yeah, I was looking through the event log to see if maybe Tinsey had some kind of an off or something somewhere, but no, Islam it just looked like they just ran him down. And he's bringing Richardson back there behind him as well.
Yeah, there's Patrick Dowd, isn't there? Nathan Dowd, sorry, and Dowd just literally goes past as well. Carter Kundiger is in pit lane, and he is he's going to go another lap down on Robert Cast. He's basically going to be 5 laps down very shortly if he's not that careful, because Robert's about 65% of the way through the lap, but Carter down off the jacks, 14.28 seconds for the number 02 Mustang. And as we fast approach the last quarter of this race, things are really starting to heat up in certain parts of the order. Well, more predominantly it's LMP2 where that is really starting to become a little bit fiery, as Nathan Dowd trying to get through on Robert Tinsey. And they just go through Moss, so Dad is going to be able to wind that caddy up to volume number 11 on the throttle and get round the outside. And that is now going to give the opportunity to Mo Islam to close in on Tinsey as we fast approach the last quarter, the last 15 minutes of what has been an interesting and strategically filled round 4.
Yeah, I really thought that Islam might have a little bit of advantage there with that GTP car of Dowd right there in front of him. Thought he might be able to use a little bit of that slipstream, pull himself up to the back of Tinsey, but actually may have lost a little bit of ground during that interchange.
Yes, indeed. So, but there's still plenty of time, and if there can be that occasional modicum of where a driver might have thought, yeah, I've done enough to put enough fuel in the tank. And then if that fuel light comes on towards the end of the race, and then they find that they're on fumes, there is going to be a lot of lifting and coasting before you hammer on the anchors. Meantime, Bradley Haley is keeping with Brian Bennett, the GTD AM class leader, and both of them running for the Sector 5 racing crew, doing a good job here. This will help this team with regards to their points haul in the team's championship, but Robert Cast has a 12.6 second advantage over Bradley Haley in the GTD classification side of things. Matt Brewer ahead of Robert Tinsey by 7.3 seconds. Pat Pelchat is now starting to lose a little bit of time because Brandon Wilson on the previous tour took, what was it? That was the best part of over 0.4 of a second. Gap now down to 3.8 seconds. And with that, on the previous lap, Nathan Dowd takes the fastest lap of the race to 1:05.565. He did say, yes, I have got pace. Yes, he might be 13 laps down off of this man here, Pat Pelchat, in the 919 Solpec Precision Racing Porsche 963 Hybrid. But, yeah, Nathan Dowd doing a really good job. It's going to give him a good amount of points by finishing this race, even though if he may be over 10 laps down, he will still score points towards his tally.
Yeah, you know, there's I give Nathan a lot of credit right there. You know, a lot of guys would have just quit and went home, but sat there, took the repairs, and he just came back at her, and he's proven he had pace in this race. He's trying to show, hey, look, I'd have been up there with you guys if we didn't have that first lap incident. So Dowd just kind of going to go home with fast time here at the moment. I don't see anybody else. You know, everybody's out there on kind of older tires, so I think that's going to hold up for Dowd. So just a little small reward. Definitely not the day he was hoping for.
I'm sure that he'll be able to give himself a little bit of a consolation pat on the back. But look at this here. Islam versus Tinsey. Oh, Mo Islam is within striking distance. There's De Oliveira just in front. Islam could have threaded the eye of the needle and gone between the pair, but decided discretion was the better part of valor. Up through into Moss they go. We've got this wonderful onboard shot from the rear diffuser of Tinsey as they come down the Mario Andretti straightaway, and then it's going to be a very fast rate of speed closure. As you can see, the intermediate, so Islam less than a tenth and a half behind. And here's Islam to the inside. Tinsey round the outside, kept the throttle pinned. And there is Pat Pelchat, and he's come right into the mix. And that is probably going to help a little bit in terms of the favour of Brandon Wilson in P2 in GTP with 11.5 minutes to go. And Pelchat has not got past them. Gap now down to 3.4 and closing.
Yeah, Pelchat flashing the lights at him. Islam's like, hey, I'm racing here for a position. He didn't want to give it up right there. Pelchat said, take a while. You said it. You can see the gap closing between Pelchat and Wilson right now. The longer Pat stays behind Islam and Tinsey right here, and he's going to take an evasive maneuver way out into the grass to get past right there. Makes it work as he gets his way around Islam finally.
Yeah, Wilson last time around took 6.6 tenths of a second out of Pelchat. The gap is now 2.9 seconds as he goes around the outside at high velocity through on Slavonic, who is now 9.9 seconds behind Brian Bennett in the GTD AM class lead. Wilson trying, and he's got the high beams on. The number 4 means business and is saying to all those in front, get out of my way. I'm coming through like a wrecking ball right about now. And Slavonic, he's going to have to keep to the left-hand side. Wilson moves to counteract him. Then he'll look at Mo Islam, who'll go, oh, I've got a blue BMW behind me. Ah, that's Wilson. I need to keep out of his way. And because of what happened with Pelchat getting through between Tinsey and Islam, Islam lost that time all over again. And there's Sattenberg in the Mercedes. And look, there they are again.
Yep.
And Wilson's right with them. This is a copycat of what happened as we go into the final 10 minutes. Islam gets out of the way. Wilson to the outside of Tinsey. Oh, that was bravery. And Wilson knew that he had to pull off that move at that point going into Moss at turns 5 and 5A. 5B, sorry.
Yeah, Islam's worked his way up to the back of Tinsey here a couple of times now, and every time he does it, one of the GTP cars come through to get in the way. So Islam, let's see if he can get back up there and make a pass here on Tinsley, but he kind of lost some ground. He's got to be frustrated a little bit. He had a couple of chances at Tinsey, but when Pelchat and Wilson came by, he kind of had to give way a little bit. Didn't give way as much as you would think, but here he is right on the back. Good move off the corner, off the left. Oh, they make contact.
Oh, and Islam's in the wall, right front for the Canadian, and that is going to damage the aero on the right side of that front splitter of the number 91. Oh, that was, yeah, you can see it's a little bit scuffed up, a little bit damaged, and what could have been a possibility of going through for second position with 9 minutes to go. There's the aftermath of it. The right front corner of that Dallara LMP2 takes a big old whack. We're going to
I hate to rewind, but it's the only option I have here.
So, yeah, Tinsey turned over. I think Tinsey could have opened up the steering, but if he didn't see that Islam was there, then it would have been too little too late. But I'm sure that his crew chief in his ear would have probably said, car on your right, and then it would have been too late. He might have turned in before that command was uttered. You just don't know.
Oh, we had a great
but
battle.
That has cost. Yeah, that's cost Mo Islam a lot of time, and also a lot of downforce. Meantime, at the moment, Matt Brewer, what a race he's been having. Absolute perfection for the hardpoint by Delta Sport Academy number 14 car, who has led every single lap in the LMP2 classification, as he is currently on lap 45 with just under 8 minutes to run until the checkered. And Pat Pelchat at this moment seems very, very comfortable, Chris. He's got a lead over Brandon Wilson, and that lead has now expanded to 3.8 seconds.
Yeah, I think you said it about 15 or 20 minutes ago that at that point, it was after the pit stops, it was Pelchat's race to lose, and Pelchat is just putting on a show here right now, putting on clean to get through this traffic. Hasn't really made a mistake. Got a little impatient getting past Islam and stuff back there, going in the grass, but it paid off for him as he's able to spread that gap now almost to 4 seconds back to Wilson. So with 7 minutes left to go in this race, unless Pelchat makes some kind of a mistake, I think it's going to be Pelchat and Wilson, your top two here in the GTP.
Yeah, it's but there's still, as we know, folks, anything can happen, and backmarker traffic nearly catches out Pat Pelchat. That's the 908 car of Rich Minkler that he's just gotten through on. And that gap was, what was it, 3.8 seconds? It's now down to 3 because Pelchat has had to deal with about 4 GTD cars and an LMP2. And Wilson's now going to come across it all of a sudden. And now Wilson, look at the closing rate of speed. And he has to put on the anchors quickly. Up the inside he goes on Mathieu Denis. And then he's going to have to go through on Rich Minkler, coming out of Moss and down the Mario Andretti straightaway. And that amount of time he lost as much as he gained. He lost 0.6. He's just lost 0.6. He gained 0.6 as well. But at the moment, the way things are standing, it looks like Pat Pelchat is making sure he's staying as calm and as comfortable as possible as we have 6 minutes to go. Lap 49 underway, and give or take, that'll give us another 6 laps, maybe 7, including this one, to take us to 55 laps of this nearly 2.5 mile circuit, just 47 kilometers east of Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, Brandon Wilson didn't waste any time getting through that traffic. He knew if he had any chance to catch the leader right here, Pat Pelchat, he had to get through there quickly, and that was pretty gutsy, making some moves through there. But he came through clearly, but still losing time over 4 seconds now, with 5 minutes left to go in this race.
Yeah, and still the battles continue onwards. Yes, the gaps might have increased. I mean, Brian Bennett's lead over Paul Slavonic is 11 seconds. Brewer versus Tinsey, 8.4. Cars versus Haley in GTD, 18.3 seconds. Need we say any more? But Mo Islam is trying to close in that gap to Rob Tinsey in the dying stages of this race. With 4 minutes and 50 to go, that gap is now down to about 1.9 seconds. There's Cadin Richardson, now aligned with Fury Simsport. And not exactly how he would probably want to be in the LMP2 class in this fourth round, but there's still, after this, another 10 to go, including parts of the Autobahn Endurance Cup that we will have. The next round of that will be round 6 for our 90-minute adventure at Road America, America's National Park of Speed. Robert Cast now coming amongst, he's about to put a lap down on Carter Kundiger if Carter's is not careful in the 0-2 Mustang. And then they've got, I think, who is that? That's Tinsey trying to get through. And Tinsey does get through. Cast to the outside. And at that point, then going through into Quebec and Moss. Unable to do so, but that was Wilson. Wilson just spun it. Was that Martin?
It was Martin. That's good.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let's have a look. So this is Jordan Martin. So out of Quebec into here. He's going to, all right, okay, let's have a look. He's going to turn it in. He's gone on the gravel, and the back end's just gone, locks up the brakes to stop it. Code brown there for the Rush Motorsports driver in the 98 Beamer.
Yeah, just a bunch of understeer right there for me. Went into the corner a little bit too deep, and the car just would not turn. Pushed him off into the grass. Actually made a pretty good save. Didn't turn the car all the way around. But yeah, I thought that was Wilson as well. That's the first time we've had another car with the same livery out there. So, but fortunate, just a mistake there from Martin.
So 3 minutes to go, and Pat Pelchat further expands his lead to what is now 4.1 seconds, and he's making his way through into the final couple of complexes here at this wonderful circuit here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, through Whites at the final corner. So 3 laps remain as we now go on to lap 52 out of what will be a scheduled 54 lap encounter as he manages to get through on the 007 Acura of Chris Sherburne, who I have to give him his flowers. He's currently P8 at the moment, and now Pelchat gets through on De Oliveira, who's 3rd in the GTD AM classification. But Pat Pelchat, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, folks, obviously there may be a bit of a post-race discussion, I would imagine, between Nathan Dowd and Pat Pelchat about what happened on that opening lap. It was really, really I mean, Pat knew that he had to do something and make a gap, and he tried to, and unfortunately Nathan was just on the receiving end. But Nathan himself, despite being in the pit lane for well over 15 minutes worth of damage, he still, as you rightly said, Chris, didn't rage quit, decided to get back on his horse and just push, and with it, he's going to get an additional point for the fastest lap of the race, along with that 1 point for pole position. But Pat Pelchat, since he took that lead, really has been unassailable here at Mosport.
Yeah, just not making any mistakes at all. We've seen just about everybody else with some kind of a mistake off the track, just somewhere, and Pat has just been, I'm not going to say perfection. It's going a little bit too far, but he has been pretty flawless here, other than that first lap incident with Dowd. And just Wilson has closed the gap down here a little bit in the last lap or so. It was over 4 seconds. It's now down to 3.7. So I'm not sure if maybe Pat caught some traffic at the wrong place there or something, but Wilson closed it down a little bit, but here with only a lap left to go, I don't think it's going to make any difference at this point.
No, Pat Pelchat in the number 919. Solpec Precision Racing Porsche 963 Hybrid crosses the line. White flag in the air. And now it's just 2.5 kilometers between this man and a further extension in the GTP Championship lead heading into Long Beach in 2 weeks' time. Pat Pelchat, nice and calm, as they say, smooth is fast. And especially with a circuit like this where you're at flat chat for all 2.5 miles, all 10 corners. He's going to wait to see when he gets past Bradley Haley and Brian Bennett, respectively, and that will be down the Mario Andretti straightaway, which Pelchat will negotiate for what will be the 54th and final time. Easily gets to past the two GTD cars. Big speed differential. Top speeds from Pelchat showing at one point at over 200 kilometers an hour. We're seeing about 170 from the GTDs. But it is going to be the checkered. It's going to be another win this season. Pat Pelchat out of the final corner wins here at Mosport.
Will's going to come across the line there in second. And I think that's our leader of the GT, and Brian Bennett's also going to come across the line right there. So another nice win there from Pelchat. It's been Pelchat, Wilson.
And a
little
little
show
bit
of
of a
respect
rub of
there.
paint
Yeah.
bod. Yeah, a little bit of rubbings racing. Brian Bennett becomes the winner. Matt Brewer has led every single lap in the LMP2 class, and the hard point by Delta Sport Academy picks up the win here in round 2 in the LMP2 class. Got one more winner still to wait for, and there he is. He's the Marlboro McLaren tribute band in that number 42, wonderfully liveried Aston Martin V8 Vantage GTD. Robert Cast has not put a foot wrong. He is going to win round number 4 in that wonderfully liveried Aston Martin. He's got Nathan Dowd closing in on his 6, and Robert Cast in the 42 Aston will win here at Autobahn Sportscar Challenge round 4 here in Canada.
Cassius really, 20 seconds back to Haley. Yeah, I don't think he did anything wrong out there. We kind of peeked in on him here a little bit throughout the race, but just a great performance from Robert Cass. I believe that's his second win on the season as well.
Oh, and he's lighting up the rear tyres. So yeah, Robert Cast, it will be his 3rd straight win. Winner at Road Atlanta, winner at Motegi, and now does the triple here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park here, just outside of Toronto in Ontario, Canada. And there you see from the helicam shots, the wonderful expanse in this Ontario countryside, and a wonderful circuit that has played host to our 4th round of the season. We will hopefully be getting to, well, looks like we have got one or two of our drivers, but let's take you through the respective class results. So Brian Bennett, well, let's start with GTP. Pat Pelchat got me a little bit on the fence there, Chris.
Sorry about that.
Pat Pelchat takes his 3rd win. He's not placed out of the top 2 so far this season and extends his championship lead in the GTP class. Brandon Wilson will move up the table with another 2nd place finish. He's had a 1st, a 5th, and a P2 now to boot. Harrison Higgins will continue his work for Fury Simsport in the number 53 963 Porsche Hybrid. That is another 3rd place that he's taken. A 3rd at Daytona, a 4th at Road Atlanta, and also last time out at Motegi finished in the runner-up position. Jordan Martin, the newcomer to the GTP crew this season, takes his first points on the board, and that'll be 4th place, and that'll be 18 points to his credit. Dominic Dorenberg, well, it looks like Harrison Higgins is going to jump him in the points, as Dominic finished in 5th position ahead of Nathan Dowd, who I'm sure will hold around the 4th or 5th spot in the championship standings after round number 4. Let's have a look at what happened in our LMP2 class, as Matt Brewer, who started his run in this season with the 4th place finish last time out in Motegi 2 weeks ago. He is the winner here at round number 4 for Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Robert Tinsey continues his way. That is his 3rd successive P2 finish so far this season. Nearly got caught out by Mo Islam, but a contact between the pair coming out of the final corner with around 9 minutes to go settled that battle, with the number 91 from Composite Performance ending up P3. Kadin Richardson, I'm sure, will keep a hold of his championship lead, but that is his lowest result. He has won 3 races on the bounce, and that is his worst result so far this season, with a 4th place finish, ahead of Mathieu Denis from Solpec Precision Racing, who rounds out your top 5 in the LMP2 classification. Next up, GTD. And, well, Robert Cast makes it 3 from 3 so far this season, winning by a big margin, 20 seconds over Bradley Haley, who I'm sure will probably end up ahead of Carter Kundiger after this race, because the 428 from Sector 5 provided by Haley Agency will move up the order into the top spot, heading into Long Beach at the old Toyota Grand Prix circuit in 2 weeks' time. Adam Satterfield makes a nice little debut with a P3 finish, and difficult one for Carter Kundiger, who you said earlier on, Chris, was feeling confident, but an early incident meant that he would finish 4 laps off the leaders. Meantime, GTD Brian Bennett picks up his 2nd win of the season, and that will bring him ever closer to Paul Slavonic in that point of call, and more to the point that Paul Slavonic finished in P2. So between the 161 and the 528, it's going to be close going into Long Beach in 2 weeks' time. Samuel de Oliveira will move ahead of David Fernandez in the table, I'm sure, because of the fact of the Portuguese driver in the Mustang finishing 3rd ahead of Mark Kudrowski. Rich Minkler, P5, Dale Green, David Fernandez, Chris Sherburn, and Joshua Wolf rounding out your finishers in GTDM. Unfortunately, Joshua not making it past lap 4, and Sheldon Rosenbaum, unfortunately, not able to make it to the grid itself. However, let's start off with our post-race interview show for round 4 of season 15 of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge. Let's bring in the man that has now picked up 3 wins out of the past 4 races. Let's bring Pat Pelchat into the booth. Well, Pat, once again, victory lane for you in the 919 Porsche Solpec machine. That was a hard fight between you and Brandon once again.
Oh man, this one feels good. To be honest, this one really feels good.
I mean, the first half of the race. I mean, let's talk about that incident between you and Nathan. It was really, really close. I mean, you tried for the Hail Mary. Tell us from your perspective what happened on that incident.
To be honest, I didn't look at the incident, so I can't really comment right now. I'm really sorry for the contact. Obviously, it was not it's nothing really intended. Obviously, I felt like I had right for room there. Was not really like a really late move. I think there was a lot of netcode. It surely felt like it. It felt like the car were really far apart when they touched, and you know how those things work. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna take a look at the incident, and yeah, I'll see what are my thoughts on it.
Nevertheless, it's a win on home soil here in Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, aka Mosport. The way that we saw a mistake from Brandon. You instantly pounced like a coiled spring, got past him, and from then on, it was just about getting the car home, wasn't it? Because this is I think a lot of people misunderstand Mosport a little bit. It's very, very fast. It's very, very flowing, and you've got to have your head on a swivel round here as well, haven't you?
Yes. Oh man, this track is pretty nasty for traffic. It's a pretty huge mess, and yeah, it's I don't know. It's been pretty smooth tonight, to be honest. Yeah, I'm really happy because honestly, I didn't put like half the amount of practice I wanted to put in for tonight. It's a track that there's grass all around it, so you know whenever you make a small mistakes, well, you know it's gonna cost you big. So I didn't have a lot of confidence. I think I did the best I could, but yeah, considering everything, I'm happy. Yeah.
Well, Pat, congratulations. This now puts you 27 points ahead of Fury Sim Sports Harrison Higgins. So at the moment, going into Long Beach in 2 weeks' time, it's a nice little Porsche 1-2, but helps you to expand your lead in the series. Well done tonight.
Well, thank you guys.
Brilliant. And anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go, Pat, and enjoy the rest of your evening?
Yeah, my team, Solpec Precision Racing. Shout out to the guys. We had the 2 cars in IMSA Esport last weekend at Atlanta. We didn't get the result that we wanted, but the guys showed the strong pace and even leading at some point. So yeah, really big shout out to all of our drivers doing this, and yeah, and you guys for the broadcast and the league.
Well done, Pat. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time at the Toyota Grand Prix layout at Long Beach in 2 weeks. Well done tonight.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Pat Pelchat there, race winner, and now has a comfortable. That's actually basically a well-earned victory. But now we turn our attention to LMP2, and let's welcome into the booth Matt Brewer. Matt, what a stellar performance that was. Pole position, fastest lap. And with that, I think you also got a 0x, a complete race. So 29 points on the board. Well done tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, it was super fun. Mosport has always been one of my favorite tracks, and race along Robert and Mo there. That was super fun.
But I mean, it was a pretty. I mean, one of the things that we know about this track, obviously, Matt, there's a lot of elevation change, a lot of adverse camber. What's the trick? What's the trick that you've learned over the years that's kept you in good stead, apart from managing those GTD traffic in front of you?
Be honest, just full send. That's all I've ever learned from some of my teammates. They're just like, send it. That's where you're going to gain the time. I mean, obviously, there's times where you don't want to. You're just going to lose time by doing that. But that was my trick tonight. I was making some moves that, say in a 24-hour race you would never make, going around the outside of 1, 2. But it's what I needed to do tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's you made your debut in the series this season back at Mobility Resort Motegi, picking up a 4th, but that's helped you moved up the order a little bit. There's still a lot of rounds left to go, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
But well done on the win tonight, getting to victory lane here at Mosport. Anyone you'd like to say thank you to before we let you go, Matt?
Just shout out to the team, Hyperion Racing. We're on the up, competing in these leagues such as IVRA 24-hour series, and we're gonna keep carrying that momentum.
Well, congratulations on the win tonight, Matt, and we'll see you once again at Long Beach in 2 weeks' time for round 5 of the season.
Thank you very much.
So a big thank you there to Matt Brewer. Now we go to GTD, and let's bring in the McLaren Marlborough tribute band, aka Robert Cast. You didn't really need to do that much preparation, Robert, because that was a pretty convincing victory in the number 42 Aston here at Mosport tonight.
Oh yeah, like I said last time we did this little chit chat. It's one of my favorite tracks, so I got the car dialed in and just let it do its thing all night long.
And plus also winning ahead of Brady by 20 seconds, which is basically the best part of a quarter of a lap. That car was on absolute song. It is a difficult one when you've got all these LMP2 and GTPs trying to pass you. It's always about just sort of like making sure that you're listening to your crew chief, you're keeping an eye on the HUD and having your head on a bit of a swivel, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of respect out there with these guys. They're good drivers all in all. So when I was watching for them, we tried to work together, time things. I saw some flashing lights. I figured, you know what, I'll do them a favor, and then they can pay me back later in the season if I need it. So.
But the big question is, Robert, how's the car going to feel when we go to Long Beach in 2 weeks' time?
Well, I'll let you know at the end of that race too.
Well, congratulations, my friend. You've picked up 27 points tonight, so 25 for the win, pole position, and also fastest lap in GTD. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go tonight, Robert?
Yeah, as always, shout out to our race team, GT Dynamics. I'm not sporting a livery yet because we're working on it, but when we get it done, it'll look nice and pretty out there. And also, just like I said, I always shout out my old teammates, Dom, Carter, Mo, Caden, the CP composite guys. They're all good guys. Always fun to be around. And even the Hyperion guys, everyone's out there real respectful, like I said. So it's a lot of fun racing with them and seeing them out on track and bullying me a little bit here and there.
Well, congratulations on the W tonight, Robert, and we'll see you in 2 weeks at Long Beach for round 5.
Sounds good, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Right, one more winner's interview to do. From lights out to checkered, Brian Bennett joins us. And Brian, you're going to like this. You just racked up 29 points, my friend. Victory, pole position, fastest lap, and a complete race. 0x. Well done. Congrats. That was a great race for you in the 161 Sector 5 McLaren tonight here at Mosport.
Yeah, thank you. It was 0x was about as surprising as anything.
Well, this is going to even provide you with a bigger surprise because we've got the updated championship standings coming in. You are now 4 points behind Paul Slavonic in the battle for the lead of the standings so far in GTD Am. It's been a bit of a topsy-turvy one. I mean, a bit of a duff round at Motegi last time out 2 weeks ago, and you come back with pretty much a perfect score. You must be feeling on cloud 9 at this moment in time now.
Yeah, pretty good. You forgot to say the hated Paul Slavonic. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we kept.
We don't do that to drivers here on broadcast. We never do. We never do.
I know. It's all good. We're friends. I've met him. We've had lunch together. Anywho, yeah, Motegi, I guess I lost concentration on the last lap and ate it, and didn't do that today. In the words of one of our old broadcasters, I kept the cheese on the pizza today.
Well, you definitely did. You made sure that mozzarella did not fall off the topping. That was for damn sure. But a great race from you tonight, Brian. But of course, Long Beach in a couple of weeks' time, a very, very different circuit to what we've got here at Mosport. The McLarens are a fairly good all-rounder as a GTD. How are you feeling, and what's going to be the plan of attack for that one?
Well, luckily I've done a few races there, not in the McLaren. I switched the McLaren this season for the heck of it. And I'll also have to work on my set some because this one I've been using basically the same thing for 5 or 6 weeks and two different leagues. But yeah, I don't think it's really set up for the bumps that Long Beach might have. But we'll see what we can do. I really like my base set, what I've got working right now. So we'll see how we can get around Long Beach if we can keep it off the walls.
Brilliant. Well, Brian, before we let you go, anyone else you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Oh, like Paul, for instance. We were in practice yesterday. Had a little bit of a brawl, and then we had a great qualifying session today. We traded the pole and am back and forth 3 or 4 or 5 times maybe. So yeah, just the competition. It's good. We're having a good time. My team, Sector 5, we'll start focusing more on Autobahn at the end of this week. We have one final round in a different league Sunday, and then it's maybe we'll start to focus in on this a bit more. That'll affect Nate more than me. He's really hammered down in the other league right now.
Well, Brian, thanks a lot for your time in the post-race interview show. Well done tonight on the W. We'll see you at Long Beach in 2 weeks' time for round 5.
Thanks to you guys. Thanks. Have a good one. We'll see you next week or two.
Big thank you there to Brian Bennett. Let's bring in Brandon Wilson. Brandon, man, that was a tough one. You still gave it your all right up until the checker, but that back marker traffic, it caught you and Pat out at several times here tonight, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I was really frustrated with that one because I feel like I had the pace on Pat. We're obviously super close, like in everything that we do. So when I came out the pits, my second out lap, when I was able to catch up to Pat there, I got into his back a little bit at that super tight hairpin. Got literally the most tiny amount of front end damage, and these cars are so fragile. I don't really understand it, but yeah, I think that cost me the win there. I was about 2 tenths off, 2 or 3 tenths off the rest of the race. So I mean, when you're racing a guy like Pat, you got to be perfect. I mean, you see his records and everything like that.
Mm.
You really got to nail every single part of the race. I did that in qualifying, did that at the start, but then just right there, I kind of took the foot off the gas a little bit, had a error, and that cost me there. But I mean, that's no. I mean, all credit to Pat. Like he's a great driver, did a great job this race. I just got to be better. I mean, I really feel like I did a good job that race. Just a unfortunate incident right there.
But still, that when that Hyperion Esports BMW MV8 hybrid is on song, we see the very, very best from you. I mean, you know, the thing is, let's not forget, you came in, you gave Pat a hell of a run at Road Atlanta at round 2, picks up the win, you know, pole position, fastest lap. There's still a lot of this season left to go. I mean, you guys are going to be fighting all the way through to the second week of April when we go to the season finale at Spa-Francorchamps. This title could go any way, shape or form, you know, even with the fact that we've got Long Beach in 2 weeks. Then we've got our second of the Autobahn Endurance Cup at Road America on December 8th. You know, there's still a lot of skin to play in this game, isn't there?
Oh yeah, there's still a lot to play for. I got to see how the points work out because I wasn't able to make the first round. But yeah, like you said, me and Pat, we're gonna put on a show every single week. You see, qualifying this race, we were like 1,000th off in my favor. So I mean, yeah, every time we get on track, it's gonna be fireworks somewhere.
I'm sure it's going to be dynamite when we see you two battling toe-to-toe once again in a couple of weeks at Long Beach. But Brandon, thanks so much for your time, buddy, as always, in the post-race interview show. Anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to before we let you enjoy the rest of your evening?
Yeah, of course, I want to give a huge shout out to my team. Matt on his win and Jordan in his first race here came home with P4. Great job by those guys. They put in a lot of work, and yeah, just like seeing our guys do well. I also want to shout out Tim Livery, who's one of our sponsors, Sim Gaming Expo, and iPredictor.
Brilliant. Brandon, thanks so much for your time, buddy. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at Long Beach for round 5.
Let's get it, guys. See you.
Well, great to hear from all our class winners there, Chris, but what a race it's been here at Mosport. I'm looking forward to when we go to the streets of Long Beach to the Toyota GP layout for round 5. That is going to be another classic that no one's going to want to miss in 2 weeks' time.
No, I agree. Just a fantastic race here tonight. Happy to be with you again, Alex. And there's that incident right there that Brandon was talking about. Just got in a little bit deep, got into the back of Pelchat. That cost him a shot at the win here. But looking forward to Long Beach, another tricky track for us. Tight racetrack, bumpy as Brian said earlier in his interview. But really looking forward to it, and 2 weeks time, and looking forward to the rest of the season as well.
Yes, indeed. Same place, same time. 2 weeks from now, we go to the streets to the original location of the Toyota Grand Prix layout at Long Beach in California for round 5. That will be November the 24th. Another 60-minute adventure before we then head 2 weeks later after that to America's National Park of Speed, Road America, for round 6 and the second round of our Autobahn Endurance Cup. At the moment, just to give you an update on the relevant standings, Pat Pelchat now has a 27-point lead over Fury Sim Sports' Harrison Higgins going into round 5 in the GTPs. Kadin Richardson now leads by a whopping 39 points ahead of Mathieu Denise in the LMP2 side of things. Bradley Haley overtakes Carter Kundiger by 2 points in the GTD classification. Both Mustangs leading the way, but Robert Carr's closely catching them now on 79 points in third, with Paul Slavonic and Brian Bennett now split by 4 points coming out of the first 4 rounds of this 15th season of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge. Fury Simsport now have effectively a 12-point advantage in the team standings ahead of Solpec Precision Racing on 1,055. Composite Performance now go to third on 1,027 points, 20 ahead of Sector 5 Black, with Sector 5 provided by Haley Agency on 933, and Satellite Racing on 597 points. Thank you so much to everyone that has tuned in with us live and direct on the JP Broadcasting Network. You've been in the company of both Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Murphy. What a wonderful way to close off our Canadian leg of this part of the season, as next time out we head to the streets of California. The former governorship of a certain Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger. We go to the streets of Long Beach and to the layout of the Toyota Grand Prix for round 5. And as always, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Good night.